people who wake up at like 3 a.m. crazy times in the morning to watch their teams. I think it's unbelievable. I know a few Liverpool fans from Australia, from the USA, and they are just brilliant. And I'm just thinking, I think I've got it bad, like traveling 3 hours up the M6 to go and watch the game, but they've got to wake up and be motivated to watch that. And I just think it's unbelievable. I think everyone's a real fan if they stick to their one club.
.258, and we're back again with another episode. This segment, as you guys already know, is called Support Section, and it's just to bridge the gap between footballers and fans. Today we got with me Chris Stonage. He's from Total Sport, and he's doing his thing. Young journalist. I checked out your channel, and you interviewed couple people on TV and doing their thing or not. What kind of made your personality go towards this career path?
I think, one thing I always say is that, I was a kid who sat in front of Sky Sports when I was young. It was always my dream to be a journalist from that. Every other kid was watching, children's TV. I was sat there watching David Garrido and, John Davis on Sky Sports News. I'm just like, I always wanted to be that, and it's always been like that. So I guess that's where it's come from. And then obviously having very encouraging parents has helped that as well. They're both very encouraging to do what I want to do, rather than, some parents are like, oh, you got to do medicine, you got to do law. And they were just like, no, do what you want to do. And that's probably where it's come from.
Yeah, were your parents big football fanatics and always interested in football?
Yeah, absolutely massive Liverpool fans, as I am, which I know you're not a massive fan of. But no, we had a conversation. I was about 5 years old, so I got my first FIFA around that age, and I loved Wayne Rooney and Cristiano Ronaldo, which were Man United at the time. So it was 2007.
Anticlimax.
Yeah, I know. And they were just like, oh, you can't play with these, otherwise you can't come to Anfield with us next week. And so from then, I've been a massive Liverpool fan, been to over 100 games. So that's where my love for that has come from, and they really helped with all of that.
So your heart was telling you one thing, but your head was telling you another thing. To listen to your parents so you can go to a football game.
Yeah, well, who knows what could have happened, because they said they'd have left me behind if I'd have carried on.
Here at FOOTY258, we're proud to present you with the best football-specific content. We work with many companies and many ballers to give you, the viewers, the best content possible. You, the viewer, we're always looking to help you improve your skill set. In order for you to improve your skill set and for us to keep making these videos, please click the link down below and buy some equipment. The equipment helps us run this channel, and also you subscribing to the channel helps us producing more of these videos to help you with your skill set and your knowledge of the game. Thank you for supporting FOOTY258.
Oh yeah, well, you would have had better years probably. You said you're 18, so I reckon you would have caught all of the glory years, and just the last few years, probably throughout your whole high school, secondary school years. Yeah, that Man United haven't been winning. I'm a Man United fan, by the way.
Yeah, I guessed that one.
But yeah, it's good. Liverpool, they're back on top and they're doing good things. I think it always starts with the board and what they've done with their recruitment. Who they've got behind the players and the management. It's always good signs, when you have those people in place and they can make the team on the field just do what they do best, right?
Yeah, and it's actually 10 years to the day that FSG bought Liverpool. like to the day we're recording this. So yeah, they what they've done is just unbelievable. When I look back, we had Roy Hodgson in charge, who, you know, despite all of his positives in a lower level, he never has proved it at the top level. But we were, I think, 12th or 13th in the table. He said Liverpool aren't too big for a relegation battle, which, you know, is laughable when you look back at it now, when they just absolutely walked the Premier League this year. But you know what? Yeah, the whole club from top to bottom knows when it does something wrong and rectifies it. I think there's something that a lot of clubs can learn from there, is not to go full on without for their plans. Just have a think about what the fans think, and I think Liverpool do that.
No, 100%, man. They're very tactical in the way they move in the transfer market. You don't see them spending hundreds of millions at a player, or, you know, even with multiple players. They're very decisive when they pick a player. If you see what they've done in the transfer window this year, they only got, really, their big signing was Thiago. And, you know, the other ones who are underrated are like Jota, you know. Like that people don't notice, but that's actually a very good signing for them, because you need somebody who, you know, they're going to play their role in the team. You know, that's the problem that Tottenham had through the last few years, where they have Kane up front. Who's going to come to Tottenham to be a second to Kane? Only somebody who's hungry and wants to prove themselves at that level. So getting Jota was a smart decision, and it shows that the board really know what they're doing, right?
Definitely. And, you know, the backup last season was Origi to all of them, the front three, which, you know, is a massive drop. However much I love Divock Origi for what he's done, you know, he's not as good as Diogo Jota is. So I think the board have made a very, very smart move, and it's what Jurgen Klopp wants, and everything's channeled through Jurgen Klopp, and he's the one that's changed it all. Yeah,
man. Let's talk about you growing up. So did you play football, and were you actually quite interested in playing football?
I was. Well, my first dream was to become a professional footballer, like every normal British kid's dream is. I had a good right foot, and I had a good left foot, and a good head, but I just couldn't run. Really? That's a little bit of a problem. Yeah, I was always very, very slow, very tall, very out of place. So as soon, you know, I did something to a lot of people say, oh, I got injured. That's why
yeah.
I pulled my leg. I was about 10 or 11. I was playing for my local team at the time, and I was doing all right. And I pulled my leg, pulled my upper thigh. I can't remember what it's called. Then I lost whatever pace I ever had. And I was ridiculed for the rest of high school for the way I ran, because I run like a chicken. It's pretty awful. So yeah, but no, I've always wanted to play football. I am an avid Football Manager player. I love it. I've been playing it since 2008 or something like that. So that's where I relive my footballing dreams, is through that.
Yeah, no, I love Football Manager as well. I try to go from National League, try to work my way up. I never picked the big dogs at the start. I love it as well.
Have you ever managed yourself?
Yeah, so actually, cool story where I was in the National League. At the time, I was a free agent, so I signed myself. And then, we got up to Championship, and I just wasn't good enough on the game. Maybe in real life as well, but I wasn't good enough in the game. Yeah, so I had to make a decision. What do I do? Do I keep paying this player who's not good enough to play for my team, or do I stick by him because he's been loyal from the start and he's always been there, you know? And then I just made a smart decision to say, listen, it's time to go, time to move on. So that was one that hit my ego, you know, as a player myself. But did you grow up with any footballers in your area?
No one. The closest in my area is my brother's age. My brother's 5 years older than me. And it was Jared Bowen. He now plays for West Ham. Yeah, he was Hereford, which is sort of near me, 15 minutes away, and my brother played against him. Apart from that, like, the whole place is a very football void. Like, there's hardly any football around. I mean, the closest Premier League team to us is probably Aston Villa, and that's an hour and a half.
Okay.
So it's a very football void area. Hereford's the biggest team in the area. So yeah, there's not many who come through in Herefordshire for sure.
Do you ever get a chance to go out and support your local?
I'm not a massive support your local man as a Liverpool fan, obviously, but I do go and watch Liverpool all the time. Now is very different. So for a website I work for now, I'm basically going to see Newport County every weekend, which
Okay.
is cool. So I have to write about them. I'm hopefully going to go and see Cardiff City and write about them soon. Which is very, I'm very privileged for that because not many people are allowed to watch football at the moment, like live football, and I'm able to do that. So yeah, more and more now I'm going to be going to see my local sides.
All right, we'll talk about that part of your journey later. When was your first football game? You already said actually.
Yeah, well, my first
Describe it.
football game. I'll describe it. I remember it exactly. So I remember the day. It was 2009, and it was August the 2nd or something, and it was Liverpool against Atletico Madrid in a friendly. And that not many people will say this, but the first Liverpool player I saw score was Lucas Leiva. So he scored in the friendly, and people say that Sergio Aguero never scored at Anfield. He actually scored in that game, as well as Diego Forlan. So it was a very. I didn't see very much of it because there was big, tall people in front of me. But yeah, it was vivid. It's a vivid emotion. I'll never forget that day. We've still got loads of pictures of it around the house and stuff.
I'm very surprised you mentioned Lucas Leiva. He's actually one player from that old regime that I think he could actually fit into today's Liverpool team in the way they play.
Potentially, yeah, he could do. I mean, he could play in that 6 role, definitely, and he did for Klopp for a bit. And I know that he was meant to stay, but Lucas wanted more football, so that's probably the way forward. He was a class player, man.
Yeah, he's not a starter for Liverpool for sure, in where Liverpool are right now. But definitely, I could see him in being like a Milner type role, filling in here and there. But yeah, quite interesting that you mentioned that game, and you got to see a high quality game for your first game. So yeah, that's nice. So you just mentioned, you support Liverpool. You don't live, in Liverpool. So as a fan, especially now it's COVID, do you think it's actually possible to be a real fan and not go to games all the time? Be a fan from home?
Yeah, well, you're living out in Canada at the moment. So I'll use this as an example. Say if you watch a Man United game, you've been a Man United fan for a long time. I don't think it makes you less of a fan. I think it makes you more of a fan, actually. So people who wake up at like 3 a.m., crazy times in the morning to watch their teams, I think it's unbelievable. I know a few Liverpool fans from Australia, from the USA, and they are just brilliant. And I'm just thinking, I think I've got it bad, like traveling 3 hours up the M6 to go and watch the game, but they've got to wake up and be motivated to watch that. And I just think it's unbelievable. I think everyone's a real fan if they stick to their one club.
Yeah, no, I think so too. Especially now, there's COVID. You can't go to games. So these are fans that have been doing this for years, like you're saying, been waking up in different countries. You ask them any fact about the club, they're going to tell you, more than you probably know as a fan going to games week in, week out. So yeah, it's just it's a difficult one, right? There's some people who go home and away, rain, sun or snow. And then there's other fans, they watch on their sofa, but they got to wake up before work, before school, wherever it is, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a fan of the culture of saying you're a real fan, you're not a real fan. If you supported Liverpool and it's the only team you've ever supported, you support them. If you support West Ham, it's the only team you've ever supported, you support them. It doesn't matter where you are, where you're from. There's no divine right.
Yeah, no, I agree. Who's your favourite player growing up?
Oh, there is only one answer to that, and that's Fernando Torres, mate. Honestly,
Really?
I saw. Yeah, he was my hero growing up when I started going to watch football in my first sort of era. I only saw him score once, which was one of his last goals, if not his last goal for Liverpool, against Bolton Wanderers it was. which is a weird, crazy stat. But no, he was the most lovable footballer growing up. But then moving forward, obviously, you take advantage of Steven Gerrard when he's there.
Of course.
He was amazing. Of course. And then, I mean, if you're coming through sort of high school, there was a lot of banter players around because that's when Liverpool weren't very good. So I always had a soft spot for Joe Allen. And we always used to make a load of jokes about Joe Allen, greatest football player. Colo Torre is another one. He was just
caught Colo at the wrong time, though.
I know. He was so good back in the day as well, and then he wasn't great when he came to Liverpool. But no, for me, growing up, there's only one answer. That's Fernando Torres.
That's nice. That's nice to hear. Who? I don't want to be too negative, but who's the worst player? You just touched on a couple bad players. Who do you think is the worst player that you've seen at Liverpool?
Oh, blimey, there's a lot. But a lot of people have been slating Adrian recently. I'm not gonna slate my guy. He's not great, but he tries his best. I'm gonna go back to 2010, and it's a player who could and should have been brilliant for Liverpool. Joe Cole. He was awful. He was awful, and he took his 120 grand or whatever he had a week home, had a pay-to-play contract, so whenever he was fit, he had to play, which is like, I'm just like, what on earth are we thinking? We were so desperate to sign somebody at that time. It was the same era, Roy Hodgson era, and he was one of the first players I ever questioned, like, are you really trying here?
No, about Joe Cole, I would say, I've actually played with him, in a 23s game. He was just
so talented, wasn't he? So talented.
So talented, but he was just, showered with so much injuries, So, like you said, he was on a pay-to-play contract. And I feel like with him, he's an experienced player. He's been at Chelsea and whatnot and been in the Premier League for so many years up until that point. That point, he was probably trying to pace himself, as he knows that he doesn't want to go the extra yard as he might get injured, which is quite sad, to think about it. But those are the things that maybe as a fan looking from the outside, you might not see.
You don't see, yeah, exactly. And well, I think the thing with Joe Cole that disappointed, he's probably not the worst player to play for Liverpool, but it's the fact that he was as good as he was for Chelsea, and it was just a massive letdown. And, as a fan, when you're 9 or 10 years old, you're just like, oh my God, come on, man. Bring it back.
No, I understand how you must have felt, watching. But he had a great career at Chelsea, and just sad that, with injuries and whatnot. Next question. Favorite kit? Which was your favorite kit?
I'm a massive kit man. I love kits, so this is a great question to ask. There's several. I don't know whether you'll be able to get pictures up of them for the video or anything. Yeah, there's the silver one from 2008-9. It's an away kit. It was silver, and Robbie Keane was in it, and that was one of my first ever kits. Was Keane 7 on the back for Liverpool. It was amazing. In terms of general kits, I've actually got one. Do you want me to show you?
Okay, yeah, no worries.
It is 2017-18 Liverpool orange away kit.
Orange?
Yeah, man. And it has Mohamed Salah on the back. Which is cool. And also, what I hope I've got it with me. I think I have. It's somewhere. There's another one.
No worries, take your time.
Here it is. Nigeria, 1994 World Cup. Also,
wow.
Beautiful. JJ Okocha on the back.
Wow. JJ Okocha, uncle of Alex, who you've had on the channel already.
Alex Iwobi. Oh, mate, you've had Alex Iwobi on the channel. Fair.
Yeah, no, I grew up playing with him, so yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, big respect, man. Well, no, JJ Okocha is one of my favourite old-time players, and I had to get that kit when it was on sale.
Yeah, he was a big baller, man. What was the worst kit you've ever had or ever seen at Liverpool?
At Liverpool, man. Oh, there's plenty. 2014-15 away, it was a yellow and red. It was a yellow strip with like red lines on it. It was horrible, man, horrible. And there's some shouts for this season's one, the away kit. Sorry, the blue one, the horrible one. But
Yeah,
it's a little bit weird.
I'm not sure about that one. About that one.
No, but in terms of top era kits were probably last season and the season before that when we lost to Real Madrid in the final.
Okay,
that was the top tier kits, and then bottom tier is like when we were pretty bad. That was when we had bad kits. So maybe there's a correlation.
Yeah. So just talk about Total Sport. Your presenter on there.
My baby.
Yeah. So explain. just tell us everything about it, and
it's a story of failure and success, and then failure and success, and it's going to continue being like that. Total Sport wasn't originally called Total Sport. It was originally called Winning Mentality. So we started it in September 2019, and it was me and a friend called Adrian at the time. And it was just audio. It was just podcasts on SoundCloud, Spotify, that sort of stuff. And then I think it was in February, we decided to make the first YouTube video on the Winning Mentality YouTube channel, which was meant to be just to have the podcast on it. So shortly after that, obviously lockdown happened, which was for us actually a blessing.
It was good. Yeah.
Because, we could spend more time on that. I had my A-level exams, but I didn't have to do them, so I could spend time on that. Which is excellent. And then I had a phone call. There was a guy at #United. The top dog at # is called Neil Smythe. And Neil is, brilliant. And I had a phone call with him because I just got in touch with him and said, "Can you have a look at my channel? What could I improve?" And he said, basically change the name. Because it doesn't tell you what you're doing, because we were doing like interviews at the time still, that sort of stuff. And he was fantastic. He told us everything. He gave me an hour of his time, which is like really valuable. So massive shout out to Neil if he ever gets around to watching this. But and then we changed to Total Sport. I recruited Mariam, who hosts our Breaking Barriers series, and Jacob, who hosts our On the Canvas series. Haas was already here, who's one of my best mates now. We've never met, but he's one of my best mates. I love him.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and other people are coming in soon as well, which is cool. And we basically said, right, we've got a content plan. We're going to do this, this, and this, and it's took off, and it's mostly thanks to the YouTubers we've had on, who aren't really what I was trying to do. I was trying to just mainly stick to sport, but then I approached Alfie Potts-Harmer. I don't know if you know him, from HITC Sevens, which is a YouTube channel. And he basically...
I don't want to get it wrong on camera, but it sounds like Hong Kong Sevens. I don't know.
HITC Sevens.
No, I don't know. But yeah, go on, carry on.
They're a football YouTube channel, basically. With 250,000 subscribers. And I said, "Oh, do you want to come on our channel, And he was like, "Yeah, sure." And then he promoted it. And then from that, we got a lot of good stuff. And I don't know whether you know, it's from HITC Sport. The Irish guy who is really well known now across football YouTube. He came on, and that's when our subscribers just blew up. But they're not the ones I'm most proud of, and those guys know that. We've interviewed professional footballers. I know you're more than willing to come on, which is brilliant. I can't wait for that. We've interviewed boxers, Chantel Cameron, who wants to fight Katie Taylor, which is crazy. The most recent video we had with Jay Harris, he is a WBC challenger. So, that's big leagues. And I've talked to people who I never thought I'd talk to. And that's all thanks to the grind we put in lockdown and Neil's help. And yeah, it's my treasure. I absolutely love it. And I put everything into it. So yeah.
Yeah, man, that's good. Keep doing your thing. You started it only a year ago, and it's already taken off. It's not about like you probably already know. It's not about the sprint. It's about the marathon. So
exactly.
if you keep going, and like you said, it's been a failure and success. In my eyes, if it's only been a year, how can it be a failure?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's brilliant, and I've made a load of good friends from it and got a lot of good contacts from it. So it's helpful in my future as well, which is cool.
Yeah, cool, man. Cool stuff. Yeah, I was gonna ask you, but you just mentioned there that you haven't met one of your best mates who you do it with. But I was gonna ask you, who's the best out of you guys playing football?
I'm playing football. Oh,
yeah.
It's probably going to have to be Jacob, because Jacob was a youth player at Bournemouth.
Okay.
When he was younger, and then he went to Eastleigh, which is
that's good.
Himself.
Good standard.
Yeah, he was very good, and then obviously I think he's semi-retired now. I think he only plays in the Sunday League, so he does all his stuff, and he's coach. He's brilliant. He's a really, really nice guy as well. One of my closest friends again, and I've never met him. So we're planning a massive meetup, and we're all going to get absolutely hammered. So that's cool.
Oh yeah, no, you gotta get a little five-a-side in as well.
Oh mate, that's a shout. That's a shout. I haven't suggested that to him. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah. No, sounds good. What do you think about other fan channels and things like that? And what do you feel like it's kind of missing, or what do you feel like it's adding towards the sport?
I think it gives fans a voice. The issue is when it gives the wrong fans a voice. As you say, that there's fans who go on there. Like, for example, what I would say is Arsenal Fan TV. I think it's fantastic. I think what they've done there is unbelievable. Okay, to get people off the street are now celebrities.
Yeah.
Like DT and all them lot. That you're thinking, you think about Arsenal, you think of Arsenal Fan TV. But it's when they give players great. They hounded Arsene Wenger out of that club. I think they were a massive part of it. I think the whole culture was a little bit of a witch hunt. It's when they gave the wrong fans a voice. Like the concept of it is unbelievable, and they've executed it very, very well. It's just occasions where they put the wrong voice out there that represents their whole brand, and that's where it goes wrong.
Yeah, just mentioning there that talking about football and sometimes being critical about players, maybe you have to do. I don't know exactly what you have to say on your channel, but I'm guessing you give your opinion on games, and it's honest, right? Are you ever afraid of saying something very rash and very harsh, and it comes back to bite you in some type of way?
I didn't used to. In fact, we used to have a podcast back in the day where we used to, used to talk about football, and I used to frequently say, XYZ was rubbish. They need to get out of our club, blah, blah, blah. And then I'd say now I've taken a lot more notice of what footballers have done. People like Wilfried Zaha, Nico Williams, more recently for Liverpool, got a load of abuse for just not playing very well. Karius is another one. And I'm a lot more hesitant on what I say, because, if a footballer does watch it and has a real bad reaction to it and, feels upset, feels like they haven't done their job right, they are trying their best. Whatever anyone says, people are, most of the time, 99% of the time, footballers are trying their best to win the football game. It is a human nature. So, I take a second thought about what I say, make sure that it's constructive rather than personal. And I'm sure as a footballer yourself, you'll receive some abuse, and sometimes when you can't block it out, however much people tell you to block it out, you can't. And that's what I want to think about now, is that make sure it's not personal, make sure it's constructive if you are saying something like that.
Yeah, no, for me, just speaking strictly on, my career and what I get, I have no problem when it's about football. It's about my performance, what I did on the pitch that day. And if you judge what I did, I'm probably the most critical person of myself, who I know. So if you said, that something I didn't do right, then most likely 99% of the time I'm going to agree with it. Maybe, the way it's said in terms of, it could be ignorant. Like, how did he miss that shot when, say for example, I took a shot outside the box and they thought I should have scored, I could have scored. Yeah, I tried to score, but I just didn't score. I know that I should have scored. I know I could have scored. But unless it's something really blatant where I did something where I cost my team and maybe I got red carded, which was very stupid of myself. Then these are things that I can only control the best of my ability. I'm trying my hardest. So those are some things I would say. On that topic.
Yeah, we've covered a lot on mental health on our channel. We sponsor a mental health charity. I hear you do a lot about mental health in football, and players don't deserve it. They are providing entertainment for us. For example, if someone slipped over on a stage, for example, and didn't do their play properly, you wouldn't go and tell them to kill themselves or, do that sort of stuff. Whereas some fans of football, it's just out of order what people say, and you need to pick and choose very carefully. Otherwise, it could come back to bite you.
Yeah, I always say that I feel like it shouldn't be looked at as a circus, football, where, you're bewildering, comments, and it should be friendly banter, banter where it's like, oh, I don't mind your shit, or opposition fans or whatever. But when it's like something to do with your mom or something like that, then that's when it gets a bit personal. Like, say for example, you watched I don't know if you watched the documentary, Spurs documentary.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, when Dyer ran into the crowd, that Dyer's performance has nothing to do with his brother or his mum in the crowd, which maybe people don't really get from the outside, but has nothing to do with them. So abuse being, held at them, from my point of view, that doesn't really make any sense. But yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah, doesn't really make any sense. But those are some people where their voice now is getting muted, so that's a good thing. But what things that you're doing where you have an opinion and you have a voice and you give your honest opinion, that's brilliant. That's the stuff that we need in football.
Exactly. I think so too. I think more people have a voice. I think just because if you're not, say, a footballer or a manager, doesn't mean you know anything doesn't mean you know nothing about football. Like, if you've been watching it your whole life, you've been, some people do like analysis and stuff. I'm not about that. I'm a little bit more chilled and laid back. But yeah, I think if you give people a voice, the right people a voice, as I'll allude back to, then yeah, why the hell not? I think it's only positive.
Yeah. So what kind of things as a fan do you want to see from your players when they go out on the pitch? What do you expect from them?
What I would say, desire, effort, and energy. Those would be the three things. I'm not worried whether they're a technically unbelievable footballer, whether you are, as long as you try and you can see that you're trying, that's all I would care about as a fan personally. There's some fans who want to see 30-yard screams every week, step overs and rainbow flicks. And you know what? I'm not about that. As long as you run and you try. And that's why I love players like James Milner. You can just tell that he gives 110%, as the cliche says. And, that's all I care about as a fan.
Yeah, no. I would agree. Most fans, that's what they look for. They'll clap you off the pitch if you gave your all. But like you said, there's some fans where if you don't score a hat trick every week, then they're on your back, and there's nothing that you can do about it. No,
it's like FIFA though. Like people will be on FIFA and like, oh, you're great on FIFA. Why can't you score in real life? Like, no, man, come on.
That's a crazy comment. I think I've received something like that actually. A DM. Someone sent me a DM the other day. So someone said, if you can see.
Oh, my mate is playing FIFA and your card. Oh my, that's just why. Why do you need to do that?
Yeah, that's a bit off topic that we were just speaking about. But it's to do with FIFA. So someone's blaming me for my FIFA card being a bit shit. So sorry, mate, I can't do anything about that. You know,
At
I'll
least you were
contact
in the
them maybe.
game. At least you're in the game. He isn't. So
I didn't even know I was in the game. To be honest, I didn't even know. I'm definitely I'm on Football Manager. I didn't know I was on FIFA, my club. But yeah, nice that he Amazon we spoke about earlier with the Spurs documentary. How did you find that, and like what kind of intrigued you about watching that?
I thought it was brilliant. I thought Jose Mourinho was fantastic. I used to couldn't stand Jose Mourinho. I actually really like him now, which is great. I love how he's like, you have to be bastards on the pitch. I love that. Yeah, I wouldn't want anything like it at Liverpool though. However much I'd love the insight, I don't think Jurgen Klopp would be having any of that at all.
No.
I remember that last year when we played RB Salzburg, just going off topic, when we played RB Salzburg, their team talk got leaked online by their own club like on a video of Jesse Marsch, their manager, just going crazy at them. I know Jurgen Klopp didn't like that, so I don't think he'd want that. But yeah, I loved the Tottenham documentary. It was my family didn't like it. I don't know why, but it's probably because it's Tottenham. I don't know. It's probably because it's Tottenham. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think Mourinho came across really well. I thought Daniel Levy didn't really come across that well, but yeah, I enjoyed it, and I can't wait for another season if it's coming.
No, I think Daniel Levy, if you're talking about the Eriksen incident, I think he's just doing his job. At the end of the day, he has a bottom line. In business, there's always a bottom line, and you know that as a footballer. Eriksen, he knew that in that meeting. And at the end of the day, there's no complaints because they met their mark and they sold him, and then Eriksen was happy and he went off, and Tottenham got what they could have, out the deal. So yeah, it's just business at the end of the day. We know that as footballers, right? So yeah. So how do you think moving forward, these documentaries and things like this, you could even say esports where footballers are playing online, interacting with their fans. What type of things do you want to see kind of bridge the gap between footballers and fans?
It's a very good question, because there's a lot of things that I'd love to go to Anfield and high five Virgil van Dijk or something like that. I'd love to, stroke that beautiful man's top knot, but unfortunately I can't. So, I'd probably say just, maximize the communication on social media. These videos that people are doing online, footballers having YouTube channels is another one. I really like that. Like what yourself's doing. Alphonso Davies, I think, has one. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, which is someone. Yeah, exactly. Like just getting to know them more. And I know they did the FIFA tournament in lockdown, which was another one where Trent and Jota played, and they keep having banter about it now still. But yeah, it involves the fans, and you feel like they're in an inside joke with the club. Another one actually. So I've had a chat recently with Sophie Davis, who is Swansea City's social media admin, and basically they have a running joke that there's this chip shop called Rossi's, and someone will say, "Oh, Messi's signing for Swansea. Just seen him at Rossi's chip shop."
Oh, okay.
So they did that with one of their new signings. I can't remember who. Recently, and yeah, it just feels like I just like the whole social media YouTube aspect that really connects the club and the fans more. That's the sort of thing I would be going for.
Yeah, no, I feel like the world of football and sport is, other sports is a bit different. You see boxers, you see NBA players, football players in America, the way they talk, and the way they, present themselves to the fans, supporters, and whatnot, they're very much closer, and you feel like they're very more normalized. That's how I feel anyway, and they're never scapegoated in terms of for saying something. In terms of, I can give you an example. After a game, for me to say after a game, no, we were shit today, and we need to do better. And I feel like if we don't get it together, then we're not going to finish in the top 4. If I were playing in the Premier League, for example, if I said that, I think that would make a lot of headlines. Whereas in other sports and whatnot, I feel like that would be something where it's normal because that's the truth, you know. But
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I don't
I
know how
think
you
it's
feel.
another thing comes down to football media as well. It's a lot more. Um, I don't know. The British media, especially, are very tight on people. You know, if there's a story there, they'll have it, and I don't like that. So, the Sun, for example, it's in my even my Twitter bio is "Don't buy the Sun." Please don't. If you're out there, don't buy it. You know, and any tabloid newspaper will do anything to get any story out of anyone. Okay, and that's where, you know, football's become more toxic. They have to be media trained. They have to be, you know, make sure that they don't say anything out of line, or anything really. Like even Harry Kane, for example, can't even talk properly. And like when Harry Kane like has a lisp, he can't even talk. When Harry Kane talks, he gets ridiculed for it. You know, and that's just because he's talking, just because he has a
Yeah.
lisp. It's out of order.
Yeah,
It's out of order.
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's not
I
good.
mean,
Yeah, no, I feel like in football, if footballers were to take it upon themselves and just say, you know what, we're all just kind of not acting, but behaving how we should in terms of being normal, saying what we want to say, the truth. I feel like then that would put a stop to tabloids picking out headlines, because there'll be so many headlines that you would have to choose from. Like, it would be like, okay, yeah, so what? He said that. It's normal that he's saying that now. You know what I mean? I feel like football players should take it upon themselves to change the culture, but who's going to have the big enough balls to do that? And they got sponsors here, sponsors there. You know, someone's got to be like the first person to come out and do that, really.
yeah, and I'm sure like footballers are characters as well. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm talking to you. I can tell you're a good character. I can tell that, you know, Jurgen Klopp off camera would be a good character because he says things sometimes that he shouldn't.
On camera, yeah.
Yeah, even on camera.
I think he gets away with it because he's German, and because he's not he's not in the England first team. He's not the England manager or whatever. He's Liverpool. Liverpool's a loved club, I feel like, in England, and he's done well there. You know, it's more easier for him to kind of be unapologetically
Exactly.
him. You know,
and that's what I think more footballers should be normalized to do. So, you know, so for example, you know, I exactly, that's why he's so loved, is because he is him. You can tell that he's him. He's being naturally him. Whereas, you know, if there's another footballer who's like, oh yeah, you know, it was a good second half, blah blah.
feels Southgate maybe is a bit like that.
Yeah, potentially. But then, you know, that you're just there, you're just thinking, come on, man, I'm just looking for a little bit more personality here. You know what I mean? And then people wouldn't like them more. There'll be less stories about them, less tabloid, just for people trying to catch them out for them not being so trained.
Exactly. No, I agree. Just to round it up, give your thoughts about the football culture and the way you think it's going in 2021, the way you think it's going for yourself as well.
I mean, there's a lot going on. I think football itself is in a crossroads. So I know Project Big Picture has been rejected first time, but that's not dead. That is not dead at all. There will be something coming back for that, which I think is both a good and a bad thing. But Liverpool and Man United polarizing the Premier League is not a good idea, in my opinion. There needs to be more like that rather than like that. And for myself, I mean, I'm just going to keep watching more football, keep enjoying it, keep writing, keep making podcasts, keep making videos. You know, and nothing's going to stop me doing that. Whether Liverpool are making 30 trillion a year or they're in League Two. So I think that's the way forward for myself. Football itself, who knows?
100%. And you touched on earlier about going to games, yourself speaking, you know, interviewing potentially managers, players, and whatnot. Yeah, how do you feel about that prospect and going forward in the future?
I'm utterly privileged, mate, honestly. And sometimes you have to pinch yourself that it's actually happening to you. You know, you're one of when I went to Newport the other day, I was one of about 50 people in the stadium. And that's including the players and the staff. You're there. It's crazy, and sometimes I get choked up about it because I'm like, you know what, I'm blessed to be in this position. I'm blessed to have had the parents that I've had. I'm blessed to have the resources that I've had. And you know what, I'm more than happy with that situation, and hopefully it can continue going forward.
What kind of questions do you always say? Oh, I wish that person interviewer would ask that, or whatever, you know?
It's always something stupid. I just want to know what Jurgen Klopp's favourite food is. It's always something like that because I want to get to know the players better, you know. So maybe know them off the pitch would be better than just on it. But yeah, there's loads of different things that I like to ask after. It's usually to do with formations and tactics because I'm obsessed with that because of Football Manager. So yeah.
Fair enough. Your top 4 predictions this year.
Top 4 predictions. I'm going Liverpool first. I'm going. This is really difficult, actually. Liverpool first, Leicester second, Manchester City third, and Everton fourth.
No, I agree with Everton. But Leicester.
I think you can't not back them. I think you got to back them. I'm trying to be abstract here, all right?
Wow. It's a hard one, you know, because you got those 4.
Oh, actually, no. I've got one. I've got it. So Liverpool first, Man City second, Arsenal third, Everton fourth. There we go.
That's something I would probably edge to more than your first pick. The first pick was a bit wild. I'll just say because you saw last year, the squad depth is not there with Leicester in it. So that's like one thing that they kind of need to address. But yeah, Arsenal, you know, now they signed Partey and their front three is strong. They signed Gabriel there as well. You know, it could kind of be up for
Mikel Arteta is a massive game changer. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think Chelsea might just miss out, as well as I don't think United are getting it this year.
You didn't mention Spurs as well.
Spurs, of course, bloody hell, I keep forgetting everyone. You know what?
And then behind them there's Wolves. You know,
yeah, it's a crazy league, isn't it? Unbelievable
this year. Yeah, this is, and then obviously you didn't mention Leicester again. So yeah,
so that's a top 9. Basically.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. And then you get the random ones every year. I think the random one this year could be Aston Villa or Newcastle, the way they're looking.
Aston Villa have had a crazy start. We won't mention last week because, you know, yeah. Oh, Ollie Watkins. Yeah, well, at least I had Ollie Watkins in my fantasy team. That's the only solace I took out of last week.
Nah, he's good, man. I played against him when I was... was that 19? Yeah, for Exeter. He played at Exeter. He was good player.
He's absolutely quality. I saw him last season, and I actually tweeted that Liverpool should sign him. So, you know, if we'd have signed him, he wouldn't have scored a hat-trick against us.
Yeah, there you go. You should be in the boardroom as well.
I don't think so, mate. I don't think so.
All right. To end up, I always ask a question about somebody who's in your phone book or in your network space who you think would be doing great on this channel and give their opinion and voice and whatnot. Who do you think?
Hassan Kareem. He's one of my colleagues at Total Sport, one of my best friends, and he's just got married in Tunisia, so I reckon you should hit him up. I'll send you his Twitter, and yeah, absolute legend of a man.
Okay, sounds good. You'll give me a good interview, yeah?
He will. He loves talking about himself, so it'll be absolutely fine.
I just ask a question and let him ramble on. There you go.
Yeah, mate. Honestly, he's basically the guy who taught me how to use Photoshop as well, which is cool.
Wow.
So he's a perfect guy for you. I'd 100% recommend that.
So what do you use Photoshop for then?
Thumbnails and stuff. So when I make
thumbnails. Okay, I thought you meant the other way around in terms of making You look a bit more
Making
curvier.
making my chin a little bit smaller, and my beard a little bit bigger. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right, it was good to have you on, man, Chris. Plug yourself in the description, so all your social medias and whatnot.
Will do, mate. So you can find me on Twitter at Chris Stonage. That is STONADGE. Yeah, not Stone Age or Stonage. You know, Stonage.
Stonage.
And you can subscribe to Total Sport on YouTube. That's all one word: TOTALSPORT. That is it, mate.
Good stuff, man. Keep doing your thing in 2020 and 2021. This was Chris Stonage on 3258 Supporters Section. Signing out.
For more content like this, like, share, and subscribe.